What if I told you that you're wasting thousands and thousands of dollars a year and you don't even know it? There are a ton of free alternatives to everyday things and people don't realize it. I'm Terrell Higgins, a real estate and personal finance nerd, and today I want to help you plug those holes in your finances. Let's get into it. Let's go back to February of 2012. An undrafted point guard by the name of Jeremy Lin from Harvard University got a chance with the New York Knicks. He got promoted from a bench role to a starting role, and he took full advantage of it. In his first 5 career starts with the New York Knicks, he rattled off 136 points. This was the most points since the NBA and the ABA merged. It started an international sensation called Linsanity. And he was able to leverage this brief window in February 2012, where he was the greatest player in the planet, into a 9-year NBA career, where he ended up earning $64 million. But before all the lights and all the fame, Jeremy Lin had very humble beginnings. He started here. That's right, Jeremy Lin was staying on the couch of his brother and one of his teammates, Landry Fields, just hoping to make a spot for himself in the NBA. But he's not the only celebrity to do it. Lana Del Rey, Kurt Cobain, and Ashley Olsen all did the same thing. And this concept is called couch surfing. Couch surfing is a very rich community of people who will allow you to stay on their couch for free. So the most popular website to do this is couchsurfing.com, but they recently got purchased by a venture capital company and they went to a subscription service. So you have to pay monthly or annual dues. So that kind of goes counter to the free stay mentality of couch surfing, but there are some other options. Trust Roots, Be Welcome, Couchers.org, and World Backpackers. So World Backpackers is kind of a standout among the alternatives to couchsurfing.com because World Backpackers wants you to volunteer, and in exchange for volunteering, you also get meals and a set of skills and potential tours of the place that you're living in. So not only are you getting a place to stay, but you're enriching your community and getting a set of experiences and skills that are invaluable. If couch surfing is not your speed, there's a few other options. Pet sitting. You can actually pet sit on a website called trustedhousesitters.com. So in exchange for watching Fido, you get to stay in someone's house. And surprisingly, some of the houses that you can stay in on trustedhousesitters.com are really, really nice. So if you're willing to just walk Fido and put food out, then you can stay for a weekend, a week, or even months at a time pet sitting. I have even heard of some digital nomads going on a pet sitting gig and then renting out their primary residence on Airbnb while they travel the world for free. So they bounce from pet sitting gig to pet sitting gig in all these different cities, and they're renting out their primary residence while they do it. It's kind of ingenious. It's one of the cooler house hacking strategies that I have come across in my studies. And then there's always the tried and true method for getting free housing, travel rewards. So with the combination of the right travel rewards credit card and transitioning your everyday spending to that credit card, you can completely eliminate your flights and hotel costs for the rest of your life. So let's talk about college. So on average in 2023, people spent $26,000 per semester, or about $104,000 per year in in-state tuition. And if you go to school out of state, that cost balloons to $223,000 for a 4-year degree.
God, please, no! 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 No!
And there is absolutely no reason you have to pay all this money. There are a ton of free alternatives out there. So I'd like to give a shout out to my wife's alma mater, Washington University in St. Louis. So the chancellor of Washington University introduced a new program. It's called the Wash U Pledge. And for students whose parents make less than $75,000 per year, he guarantees a free undergraduate degree. But there are a ton of other schools across the nation where you can get a free undergraduate degree. I'm including a list of 18 different schools across the country where you can go to school for free. And in exchange, you just have to volunteer for a couple hours. And there's a few service universities where there's some committed service after you finish. But there's a wide variety of programs where you just have to commit a little bit of your time. And in exchange, you graduate with a 4-year degree and no student debt. So just giving up a little bit of your time in exchange of not needing to pay back hundreds of thousands of dollars is probably a worthwhile investment for most people. So when you get into school, one cost that people don't always account for are the textbooks and school supplies. So people spent on average between $628 and $1,200 a year just on textbooks and school supplies. And I'll go on record and say this is a complete scam. They force you to buy these textbooks and you're only going to use them for a few months, and then you're going to try and resell them at a fraction of their value, or you just end up holding on to them and it's just wasted money and they just gather dust. So there are a ton of free websites where you can download the PDF versions of these textbooks for free. And if you need a printed version of those textbooks, it's much easier to take this PDF version, get it printed out and bound, instead of shelling out hundreds of dollars on the textbooks from the school store. If you're like me and you enjoy a good book to pass the time, and you're just buying them like crazy off of Amazon, there's actually a free alternative to this. There's this magical place called the library. No, seriously, if you have a library card membership, you can use it on a website called hoopladigital.com. And it gives you access to thousands of ebooks, audiobooks, audio, music, and it's all completely free if you have a library card. So instead of just instantly buying every book that someone recommends to you, I'm guilty, you can check hoopladigital.com, look at the book for free in ebook format, or listen to it for free. Let's talk about cable and streaming services. So streaming services were supposed to be the low-cost alternative to cable. But as time went on, the streaming services stacked up, and now they are the same price or even more expensive than cable was. So there has to be a better way to actually consume your video content. And if you're just looking for your local news, your local TV stations, ABC, NBC, CBS, you can get all those channels from an antenna. If you just make a small investment in an antenna, you can still get all those channels for free. And if you feel like you want to stream in your own timeline, there's actually a few streaming services that allow you to do this. So Tubi, Crackle, Amazon, Freeve, and Roku are some free streaming services that you can look into. They have a ton of content and it is completely free. So if you're still stuck on the latest and greatest TV show, there are a few ways you can cut your cost in that department as well. So instead of immediately consuming a show as soon as it comes out and leaving your subscription service running, what you should do is you should cultivate a list of all the shows you want to watch, and you should write down what service they're on. So when you get to about 3 to 4 shows worth of content that you want to watch, then you should subscribe to the service, watch them all in that 1 month, and then unsubscribe from the service. So instead of paying across the entire year for a subscription service that you're barely going to use, you're only subscribed during the months where you're actually going to consume their service. It saves a ton of money, and all those dollars add up to hundreds in savings across the year. Let's talk about bank accounts. People are still paying maintenance fees for their checking and savings accounts. They're getting fees tacked onto their account month after month because they don't have the minimum balance in their account. And it's always was completely ridiculous to me. I don't have money, so you're charging me more money? Get out of here with that. That's complete nonsense. There's no reason you should be paying money to have a checking account. If you go to a local credit union or you go to an online bank, they offer the same level of services of any of these big banks, and you have zero maintenance fees. So if you are racking up $20 and $30 a month maintenance fees because your balance is too low, there's no reason they should take your balance to zero by charging you more money. Look into a local credit union or online bank. So furniture is one of those things that you can spend a fortune on. The average 3-bedroom house, people spend between $10,000 and $40,000 furnishing. And if you have really high-end finishes with a very large house, you can spend up to $100,000 furnishing the home. And there is absolutely no reason to spend all that money. For years and years, people have been getting furniture off the side of the road, but there are better options than that. If you go to a college on move-out day, there are tons of people trying to get rid of furniture and give it away for free. And then another option is if you live in an apartment complex, a lot of them have a donated item area, and you can get free furniture from those locations as well. But if you're looking for something very specific to match your aesthetic of your house, there are a few online websites that you can look into that have furniture. OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, freecycle.org, Nextdoor, all these websites, you can get furniture for free or a fraction of the cost. And as long as you're willing to do a little bit of elbow grease of resurfacing, repainting, cleaning, you're going to get some high quality items for free instead of spending tens of thousands of dollars. Let's talk about virtual assistants. So a virtual assistant may or may not be something you've considered paying money for, but I'm sure you thought it costs money. But with the combination of AI and applications, you can completely replace the need for an assistant. So these virtual assistants are kind of acting like a brain on top of your brain, allowing you to accomplish more with less thought into actually getting it done. So one of my favorite applications to use is an application called If This, Then That. And this application talks to a ton of other applications, and it's really only limited by your imagination. Some examples of how I use If This, Then That. If I'm going into work, I have it automatically mute my phone, and then when I come back home, it unmutes it. If it's gonna snow tomorrow, I have it send me an email reminder so I can set my alarm clock earlier and get to work on time. If I am trading the stock market, I can actually have it send me price updates for when I want to evaluate buying or selling a security. I actually have it sending a daily text message to my mom to remind her to take her medications. And some of the cooler integrations actually use ChatGPT. So if you're a content creator, you can plug in a title and ChatGPT will generate potential hooks, it will generate scripts, and then If This Then That will export all that information into Google Drive for you to access later. So another thing that you can use, and I use all the time as a shift worker, is scheduling. So scheduling emails and scheduling text messages. So there are automated features where you can schedule an email in Gmail, or you schedule a text message with your messaging platform. And as a shift worker, things will come to me that I need to reach out to people about, but it'll be 3 a.m. when that thought comes to me. And I don't want to be that weirdo who's sending an email to somebody at 4 a.m. So to avoid that, I'll type up the email and then I will schedule it for the next day. And then you avoid all that weird, why is this guy sending me stuff at 2 a.m. vibes that you give off if you just send it right away. So if you start layering these applications and AI tools into your everyday life, it can cause your productivity to skyrocket, and you would never ever have to pay for a virtual assistant ever again. So the last thing I want to talk about is not technically free, but it's so cool and it's such a huge cost savings that I wanted to mention it. So around the world, there's 2.5 billion tons of food waste every single year. And the United States contributes a large amount to that food waste every single year. There's an app called Too Good To Go that is trying to combat this food waste problem. So if you download their app, it connects you to restaurants and you can get the food that they were going to throw out at the end of the day at a substantial discount. And there's a ton of pastries and cookies and baked goods, but there's full meals on here as well. And it is a fraction of the price that you would normally spend on takeout. And it can be even cheaper than buying groceries. So it's really cool. And if you're trying to feed a bunch of people, as most of us are, then it's something worth checking out. Tightening up your budget and not spending more than you have to is one of the cornerstones to building a rock-solid financial foundation. And if you follow the tips in this video, you'll save thousands and thousands of dollars. If you're looking for those next steps on how you can keep building your finances and achieving millionaire status, I have a video on how I would rebuild my wealth from scratch to millionaire status, and you can check that out. Thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time.